So in today's video, I'll be talking about how to add states into a functional component with something called hooks. Hooks is a relatively new API in React, which came in with, I think so, React version 16.8 or 16.9, around that time. And currently we are on React version 17.01, as you can see over here. So, uh, you can get the code we have done up till now over here in the repository that I have created. I have linked it in the blog and I will also link it in the detail of this video. So yeah, let's just jump into the code. So this is where we left off. I've already started the server, as you can see. This is what we did last time. And let's just start with creating a component. So we can create a component in this file itself, but let's not clutter this file and create a component in another file. We'll be making a form, so let's call it form.js. And obviously we are making a React component, so we would need React from React. So we'll import it and let's just make a very simple component form, and it would return something called a React fragment. I usually use React fragments because I don't want unnecessary divs in my components. So you can just add a div or any tag of your liking over here, a section, a side or something, article tag. So, and let's just export it so that we can import it in our index.js. So export form, and let's just import it over here. Import form from dot slash would point to the current folder that we are in, and form. Mm, this code is a bit weird, so let's just clear this a bit too. I'll add a React fragment here and another React fragment here, and I'll just move this h1. So yep, it's a bit clean now, and let's just add our form component over here. So that's it. There are no errors, so we have basically added our form component. We haven't written anything inside it, so let's just check if it is working or not. P and anything lorem ipsum, and save it, and let's check over here, refresh, and lorem ipsum. So yeah, a form component is working. So let's just start with adding inputs in our component. First input of type equal to email, we'll make a login form, so type email, and another of type password, and let's just check if this is working. So we have got one and another, so we have got two input forms. Yep. So let's just start now with adding states. So we'll be adding something called a state in our component. What a state essentially is whenever the value of state changes from its particular set state function, a re-render cycle occurs and it triggers whichever change it triggers take place in our component. It won't happen if we use a normal variable, which we'll be checking afterwards. So let's just start with adding a state. We'll need useState from React. We'll have to call it explicitly. So useState, and it returns two argument. I'll destructure it so that we have two different variables. So useState. So what useState is it is essentially a function which takes one argument, which is the default value. I'll give the default value as an empty string. You can give any value, a number, a boolean, or anything. So it returns two things. The in order, the first thing is the state, whatever you want to name it. Let's call it email for now. And the second thing it returns is the set state function, which would take one argument, whatever value you want to give to the state, and it will give that value to the state. So let's call it set email, and let's just add our state variable over here, value equal to email, and let's check if it is working. So nothing changed as of now, but what happened is this is not working now, this input field. This one is working fine. Why? Because this is a const variable and its value cannot change normally. So what we'll have to do is we'll create a on change function which gets a event as a argument, the event which has triggered it, and we'll set the value of email to the value that we have inserted. So now the email would be anything that we type. So let's just try if it is working or not. Yep, it is back to working. So we can also check if the default value is working. Let's change this, like again lorem ipsum or something, and let's refresh, and yep, it is working. So what we have essentially added state in our machine. So let's repeat this for our password. So we'll create another state called password, and let's repeat the value and on change function for our password input also. Let's change this. If you don't know, you can also get multiple cursors by clicking while holding control. So like many cursors, as many as you want. So one over here, and let's change this to password. So we have added state to the both of our components. Let's see if both of them are working. Yep, they're working. So let's check. How to check if a re-render cycle is running? What I can do is let's print a tag whenever the email is a particular value. So email, whenever email is equal to lorem. If this is true, then also print a p tag which contains the value of email is lorem. Oops, meal. Okay. Email. So let's refresh and try again. Nothing is happening as of now, but as soon as I type lorem, the p tag gets printed. But let's try this with a normal variable also. So I'll create a variable called, let's call it temporary for now. And every time email changes, we'll also temp equal to email, let's say. Okay, temp is also equal to email now. So when email would be equal to lorem, then this change should trigger, and whenever temp equal to lorem, this should print. So let's type it again. Nothing is happening, and if I type lorem also, it is not printing. So we can check this with console log if the value of temp is email or not. So console log, let's check temp and email, both of them. Okay, so every time I change this, we can check our console for anything. So lorem, so both of them are lorem right now, but the re-render didn't occur because the variable that we used over here to trigger the change was temp, not our email. So this change is not triggered by any state, so this change won't occur. So let's just go back to using email and delete temp. So that's it. This is the basic functionality of our states. Let's just add a hide and show button for a form to illustrate how we can use it in a normal scenario. So I'll first add a containing div to our form. So a div, and let's make another state which is known as visibility. So let's call it viz, and the function is setWiz. useState, and let it be a variable. If it is true, we'll print. If it is false, then we'll not print. So true. So whenever the value of viz is true, then this also prints. You can also use ternary operator. This is basically a if statement, I would say. You can also use a ternary operator over here, the question mark and colon syntax. So I'll use that a little later. So let's just add a button. What button? And okay, let's use the ternary operator now. So when viz is true, then the button should show the value, hide hide the form. And if it is false, then we want to show as the value of the button. So it is showing hide as of now, nothing is happening in the button. So okay, so now we'll have a on click function which will obviously set viz to something else. So let's just make a on click function. We don't need the event right now, so we won't call it. So let's just call setWiz and put it. Let's the value is not viz. So if it is true, then the value would change to false, and if it is false, the value will change to true. So let's just try this out. So hide show. So form is working now perfectly. So we can hide our form, we can show our form, and if I light lower m, this would also print. So this is essentially a normal use case, like if you want to show drop down on click, or you want to show a side nav bar on click. So this is the basic functionality what you'll use state for. I'll be teaching other states also. There are some more like use effect, some of the hooks, not states. So some of the hooks like use effect, use context and stuff. We'll be using them later. So yeah, that's it for this video.